Today we are talking about protecting your wealth. Welcome to A Word from the Coach. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. This is where we ask and answer questions on the go. If you have any question that you would love me to answer, feel free to drop it in the comment section or to inbox it in my various inboxes, and I'll be glad to make another Word from the Coach video in response to the same. So assume you have started creating this wealth. Then we begin to ask the question, are there some factors that can hinder us from achieving the maximum wealth creation possible? And the answer is yes, there are many of them. Therefore, what can we do to minimize the chances of us not creating wealth as best as we should? And that is why we talk about protecting your wealth. Why are we protecting this wealth? We are protecting your wealth so that we avoid losses. In the process of handling money, you will meet losses. You will incur losses. Your money seeping through some holes. Your money, getting to just disappear. Sometimes visibly, sometimes not visibly. Sometimes just quietly. So you think you're moving forward and you're not moving forward. And there are very many avenues where human beings incur losses as they try to create wealth. Sometimes you will incur losses through lawsuits. If you are not careful, there are times where you will be taken to court because maybe you failed to do something the way you're supposed to do. If you are in business, maybe you are in a contract, you did not fulfill your side of the contract, you get to be sued by the other person. Lawsuits are expensive. You will be paying your lawyer, you will be incurring costs, maybe you are attending court physically, and so on. All that is your money that is supposed to be building your wealth, but is now disappearing because you are not diligent enough. Sometimes you will make losses through asset erosion. This is where you have an asset, but the value of the asset is coming down compared to what you are gaining from that asset. For example, you bought a vehicle that is supposed to be used for business to bring you returns. But now the vehicle is not as engaged as it should. So it is not bringing you money, but we all know that vehicles are depreciating over time. So you might be looking at your vehicle, but the truth is, as we speak, the asset is getting eroded in value. That will be a loss in the world of wealth creation. In the world of wealth creation, we are supposed to see your value growing. So if your value is not growing, then you are not creating wealth. That erosion does not just happen for vehicles. It can even happen for land. I know we have been accustomed to believe that, when you have land, buildings, they are growing in value always and things like those. But that is not always the case. Even in this country, I have encountered situations where I have seen asset erosion in real estate. Personally, I have gotten my asset eroded. There was a time I had some rental units somewhere, and that was the first time I realized that actually rent can be negotiated downwards. Let me give you an example of how that space can also erode. If you buy a piece of land in a high-end area, for purposes of example, let's call it some Runda somewhere, not the current Runda, but some Runda somewhere. Even the current Runda has been affected in some areas. We've had clients whose assets had their value eroded. So let's take an example of a Runda somewhere, a high-end dwelling place. So initially when you're buying, you buy this piece of land at a very high price because it's high-end. You try checking the prices of land in those areas, you will see how much it costs to just have a small piece of land. So you buy there, and the land is costing a very big amount of money. Then you enter there knowing that the land is going to be appreciating. Then now something that you never anticipated begins to happen. Just next to where your land is, a slum begins to crop up. And the slum is coming up very fast. Very, very fast. And as the slum is coming, it is coming with associated cousins of insecurities and things like those. And so people are beginning to be mugged just next to your piece of land. Okay, so initially, the place looked very lucrative. But now, word begins to go around that that place is one of the unsafest places in the region. So you pick an example of any runda of wherever you live, be it Nairobi, be it Kisii, be it wherever it is. Now, that slum comes loaded with insecurity and many other things, and that begins to discourage people to have interest in the areas that are immediately next to the slum. And that is where your piece of land is. So if you had rental houses there that were high-end, people are beginning to avoid them. So you had houses that you are giving out at 100,000 per month. Now nobody wants to come. So you are staying with houses that don't have people. Those that are coming, when they look at the neighborhood, they are telling you, unless you take 50,000. And yes, I've had houses where I had to scale down rent myself. It shocked me because initially my mindset was that when you have houses, the rent can only be going upwards. But I had units somewhere where you now stay without people coming in. And those that are coming in are proposing a price less than the price that you have always been giving out. And you get to a point where you have missed tenants for 3 months counting. You start asking yourself, hey, is it better I accept what they are proposing or I stay with my units? And that is how at some point I found myself scaling down the prices of my rental units. That is asset erosion. Okay, so it can happen. You can also incur losses in the world of wealth creation through interest payment. In that process, maybe you have borrowed money. There are times where you incur debt to try and catalyze the process, to speed up the process of wealth creation. Debt is a tool that we can use. But now, if you also borrow blindly, if you borrow without regard to the cost of borrowing, maybe you borrow from expensive sources, you will be paying out a lot of interest than you are supposed to be paying. If there are lenders giving out that particular debt at 15% and you are borrowing at 20%, the extra 5 is a leakage. There is a video I did on YouTube. You might want to visit it at your own time. I was talking about leakages, how businesses lose money through leakages. And I was talking about how to minimize revenue leakages. But I started by showing you how revenue leaks. I've been also sharing those videos on Facebook. I think I've shared quite a number of them, and I still have several of them running on how businesses get to lose income, to lose revenue. And one of them is through interest payment, where you borrow expensively. There was a source giving 15%, but you borrowed from 20. The extra 5 is a leakage. It's stealing from your money. So in the world of wealth creation, you don't want to just throw out money like that. By the way, those of you that are keen, the people you used to call wealthy around you, whether it was when you're growing up or even now, sometimes, if you remember well, some of us were tempted to call those people stingy. Just because you ask them to give you 1,000 bob and they told you they don't have, and you go home wondering, this guy has all these things. This guy has cows. This guy has cars. This guy has all those things. He has pieces of land and what have you. Why can't he just give us 10,000 shillings? And you call them stingy. You did not understand the language of wealth creation. It does not mean when you're creating wealth, you become selfish. There is a difference between being frugal and being selfish. There is a difference between being selfish and when you are putting in due diligence. You don't just throw money easily, you know. You must put a line between philanthropy and carelessness. Many of those wealthy people are also very philanthropic. But their philanthropy is budgeted philanthropy, planned philanthropy. They know very well, the profit I make is this much if they are in business. Out of this profit, this percentage will go to charity. And they are very meticulous at it. But now from our eyes, we want to judge them. And you see, financial things are very personal. Sometimes I tell people, it is possible that today you have 20,000, but you have a goal that is requiring 25,000 from you. So your relative knows that you have earned money. They know you cannot miss 1,000 shillings. And for sure you have 1,000 shillings because you have 20. But the truth is, the goal you are pushing towards requires more than this 20. If this relative of yours asks you for 1,000 and you tell them you don't have now, they will badmouth you. They will say how selfish you've become. But the truth is you're not selfish. The reality is you did not have 1,000 to give them at that time. Sometimes when I'm doing financial parenting, some of you have heard me talk about financial parenting. And one of the things I started telling my children was the fact that when I say I don't have money for whatever demand you have made, it doesn't mean I am at zero. It just means I don't have money for that thing that you are asking. So I might be having money, but it's money for food. And you are here asking for a particular toy that we can budget and buy at the end of the month or next time when I have money for it. So when I tell you I don't have money, because initially when I would say I don't have money for it, they would start telling me, but we saw you in the morning having money. So at some point, I started giving them options. Allow me then to buy you this thing as long as you can also agree not to eat in this house for the next X number of days. So they began to understand, oh, so it's possible you can have money, but the money belongs to a different thing. We also get to incur losses in the business of wealth creation through business liabilities. If you are a business person, there are times you become liable. You sold something to a customer. Maybe you are selling milk. The customer has gone home and the milk is bad. They were cooking tea and the tea has become maziwa mala. So the customer comes back to you, is fuming. The customer says, you are scamming us. As a business person, you want to protect the reputation of your business. So you will be liable. You take back the milk, you replace their milk. If you don't have replacement, you might give them back their money. It is a loss. So as much as it's possible, let us avoid the losses we can avoid. If there is some due diligence you must do to make sure that you don't lose through business liabilities, make sure you do it. If you need refrigeration, plan to have it. Sometimes we incur losses through tax exposure. Yes, we have to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. But if you are in business, you want to be careful how you handle the tax aspect of your business. If you don't pay taxes, you will have penalties. Your business can actually be crippled by KRA. We also can incur losses through inflation. And this is when we are measuring the increase in the price of commodities over time. So maybe you think you are creating wealth, but you have put your money in a place where that money is earning, say, 3% per year. And the inflation in your country is maybe 6% per year. So yes, you are getting some returns, but the truth is your money is getting eroded by inflation. You're getting returns, yes, but in terms of the true value of what you're getting is below inflation rate, and that means that you will still have to go into your pocket to buy the things you might need to buy. So your money will still be getting eroded. Another reason why we are working hard to protect wealth is to enhance the pace of wealth creation, the speed at which we create wealth. If we are not careful, then we will grow wealth at a very slow pace. But if we are keen about protecting wealth, then we might be able to grow wealth at a relatively faster pace compared to if we did it blindly. Another thing why we work hard to protect wealth is so that we can be able to preserve wealth for future generations. We are reminded of what wise parents do and how they leave wealth for generations to come. But you can only be able to leave that wealth if you are keen to protect your wealth. If you are keen to protect your wealth. If you are not keen about protecting your wealth, then you might not be able to leave wealth for the generations to come. And lastly, we want to learn how to protect wealth for peace of mind. Peace of mind. You want to be at peace knowing that I have complied with KRA. It gives you peace of mind. You want to be at peace knowing that I have complied with the county regulations. You will be at peace. You want to be at peace knowing that you have borrowed debt that you can repay and you are actually repaying. It gives you some good level of peace.